presence there, the female that we started with, was too much to overpower there. But again, we've got a high-quality female, high-quality pair here we're going to round out our class with here. Congratulations, guys. My compliments to you.
On the AOB side, we have another single-entry class, certainly a functional kind of potential brood cow prospect. Certainly looks like she'll make the replacement pen heifer that structurally not a whole lot wrong with her. When she gets out on a move, she certainly can travel. Maybe not as square out over her hip as ideally I might like to see, but I think adequate in that regard. Certainly a female that could be very useful down the road to any breeding program.
Class 13 on the AOB side, we're missing Cade Griffith with Miss May. Again, on Class 13 on the AOB side, we're missing Cade Griffith. First place on the AOB side, late summer yearling, Class 12, went to Country Acres Farm with Border View Fleetwood Stevie, owned by Lexi Zepp. Now in the ring, we should have Class 13.
Angus exhibitors, we're ready for your spring heifer calves. Angus spring heifer calves in the ring. The first place Angus cow calf was entry number 1050, exhibited by Victoria Meyer of WF Angus in Center Hall, Pennsylvania. Entry 1050 was first. Second was entry 1052, exhibited by Oler Madison of Thurmont, Maryland. And they respectively will be the champion cow calf and reserve. Again, champion cow calf is entry 1050, WF Angus, exhibitor Victoria Meyer of WF Angus in Center Hall, Pennsylvania. And reserve was exhibited by Oler Madison. Spring heifer calves. Victoria Meyer, Madison Oler. Washington Farm, Crystal Stowers. Angus exhibitors, your calf classes are backwards. We're ready for April calves. April Angus heifers. The youngest class first, followed by the next age break, and then the third age break. Apparently they're backwards in your program. Angus exhibitors, the April junior calves are in the ring. The next class will be your March calves. March Angus calves to follow the class that's in the ring.
big stout heifer to start this class in the ALB. A heifer that certainly combines the depth of forerib and flank, certainly wide-based off of both ends. Real boldly sprung and strong female. Adequately feminine up through that front 1/3. Got enough angle to her shoulder that she covers her track out on the move. Just a big, powerful, relatively fault-free kind of a female to win this class that I like quite a bit. The next heifer in line in terms of structure, I think fits right behind the heifer that leads the class the best. Readily, I will admit that she's not the thicker of the three that are left. The two heifers just behind her probably got a little more center mass than she does, but a heifer is just a bit straighter in her design, you know, a little cleaner up through that front 1/3. After I make the concession on the muscle, I just like her in terms of her structure as you compared to the next two heifers. The heifer in third, again, a heifer that has a more in terms of her center mass of muscle, but a heifer that may be carrying just a bit more than I would consider ideal in terms of her condition at this stage of her life. Heifer that maybe not quite as long-sided as a heifer just ahead of her. If I wanted to change her, I maybe give her a little more angle to that front shoulder and where she can reach a little further on the move, but still really deep, really thick kind of a heifer in third. The heifer we're going to end the class with certainly has some power in terms of her depth of rib and has a really broody look to her. I think certainly would make my replacement pin, but a heifer in terms of her eye peel maybe gets a bit coarser off of both ends when you look at her, a little plainer off her hind leg, but still a really productive, broody looking female.
Angus ring here, guys. Things are starting to get heated up here in your junior heifer calves here. These are a young April group of calves here, a trio that we have out here, and three that are exceptional quality. I think they're all different, and I think that's okay. You're going to find some of those types of differences out here in these smaller classes, but what a way to start with. One that's just so elegant to look at, and the young lady does an exceptional job on the halter of that one, getting that one stuck, but I'll be honest, the heifer does a lot of it herself. I mean, she just flows so smooth. As one word to describe that one, if I was going to use one word, it would be smooth. She is elegant. She's correct in terms of her angles from hock to ground, and she is the best in terms of her pastern. I think maybe she's not as expressive in terms of that rib shape and lower body. Lower 1/3 is the heifer in second. The heifer in second from her shoulder back is extremely impressive there. You love the overall dimension and shape that she has. We just got to neaten that one up, I guess. For me, refine her a little bit through her chest floor, make her a little more vertical as she comes out of the top side of her shoulder to give me that better look on the side profile, to better compete with that heifer that won the class. But tremendous cow prospect. Again, love that body symmetry, that heifer in second there. From there back, she's extremely impressive. Again, we just like to neaten her up through her front 1/3 there. She gets just a little cresty there in her neck, not quite as neat through her chest floor. Heifer in third that we concluded class with, when she wants to relax, and out here, she gives you a tremendous look here. She's just fighting that show halter so bad out here. She don't want to be out here. She's not giving me the best look, but there's a lot of quality in that one as well. What a class of trio of Angus females to get your heifer show started. Thank you.
Angus exhibitors, we're now ready for your March calves. Angus March calves. Results of the spring heifer calf class born in February. On your programs, it will show as the second page, class 4. Entry number 1055. Full Day Enterprises Georgina 2208 is first, exhibited by Dustin Douglas of Full Day Enterprise in Westminster, Maryland. Second is entry number 1054. Washington Ms. Frosty 022, exhibited by Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland. Third is entry 1053, Washington Pearl 282, also exhibited by Washington Farm. March Angus calves now in the ring.
Over on our AOB side, Class 12 first went to Gabe Zepp with Borderview Fleetwood Stevie. Class 13, First went to Kate Griffith with Miss May. Second went to Ryder McNuck, 80 Addie Acres, KLLCMF Primo. Third went to Carly Black with SS Lola. And fourth went to Isabel Thompson with Cave Miss Betty. Now in the ring, our champion is Kate Griffith with Miss May. And our reserve was Ryder McNutt with KLLCMF Primo. Now in the ring, we should have our April Junior Yearlings. Attention, Shorthorn exhibitors. We are going to push your time out a little bit. I will let you know in a second. We're going to go with 2:30 start time. As of now, no sooner than 2:30 for Shorthorn exhibitors. No sooner than 2:30 start time on Shorthorn exhibitors.
Challenging and interesting class of heifers out here in your Angus side of the ring. We've got some differences here to talk about, folks. We can certainly go through that. Heifer I'm going to lead off with. I'm not saying she's the stoutest one out here. If we're going to change her, that's the first thing I'm going to say. Let's power that one up, pull that one apart. But I think in terms of fluid movement and compelling look from the side, I think that one kind of gravitated. I gravitated toward that one pretty handily. The power heifer, and what if you want one with a little extra punch, here's the heifer in two. She's just really, really not wanting to be a show heifer out here today. And with that, I think that was a disservice to her and a little bit of a detriment out here. I think as those two heifers continue to go through the fall, through next year, I said you could probably, that heifer's going to come up and challenge that heifer there in first. Once this one figures out how to be a show heifer and give me that look that I need from the side, I think there's a lot of quality in that one. That heifer does have that extra punching power to offer. She's just not wanting to get off those rear two. She's agile. She's not wanting to be in the ring. She's not comfortable out here in the ring to give me what I need out here today, so therefore she's going to be second out here in this class. High-performing heifer out here in third. Here's one in terms of performance. She excels her contemporaries out here. We just, again, getting her to relax out here, cleaning her up through her front 1/3, her chest floor, refining her a little bit there in terms of her neck, her condition. She wants to handle her spine a little tighter. If you look when she goes, she just wants to get up in her top ever so slightly, wants to handle her top just a little tighter than what I would prefer here. And we're still talking about quality heifers here, guys, quality females. Young man that the Cowboy had, he brought us a really good one here that we're going to conclude the class with in fourth, and there's a lot of good of that one there, guys, in terms of cow power and potential. You read that one later on down the road. I love the body shape and rib shape, the squareness in her pins, from hooks to pins there, and really ideal on how she lays that tail head in, but really high quality for group of 4 heifers there in that class. Thank you.
On the AOB side, we got a really nice complete heifer to start this class off. Certainly a heifer in terms of her muscle mass. She'd be the most powerful in that regard in these 4 heifers. Heifer that's probably the longest sided, longest tip. You get behind her, you certainly appreciate the amount of muscle this heifer has in her, but still carrying that muscle in a very feminine package. Certainly appreciate her femininity up through her front 1/3. Heifer that when we put her on the move is certainly adequate in that regard. Just a really complete, nice heifer to start this class off with. The next heifer in line, I certainly appreciate her in terms of her structure. Certainly a heifer that compared to the 2 heifers below her excels in that regard. Heifer that's real pleasing on the profile, just not the natural muscle shape or rib shape that we have in the heifer just ahead of her, or overall power in terms of length of side, but still a really complete, nice pattern, really attractive, well presented heifer here in second. The heifer that we're going to come in third with, I think between third and fourth structure is what breaks it. For me, I'd readily admit she's not, in terms of muscle mass, certainly compared to the heifer below her, doesn't have quite the width of base that we see in the heifer we're in the class with. But certainly in terms of her structure, I think as far as her longevity, be a female that will produce a little longer than the one we have here in the class with. I have some serious issues with the way she's designed up through that front 1/3. She gets a bit bow for me in that lower part of her shoulder, but still a female you need to appreciate the muscle mass and shape that she does possess.
Angus exhibitors, your next class after the one that's in the ring will be junior heifer calves. Angus fraternity, those of you who are marking your programs, it will show up as class 4 spring heifer calves in your program. Entry number 1058, Full Day Enterprises Sandy 201, was exhibited by Mr. James Full of Full Day Enterprises in Woodbine, Maryland. Second was entry number 1061, Sleepy Meadow Farm Nellie Express 3012, exhibited by Crystal Stowers and Kay Wagner of Sleepy Meadow Farm in Westminster, Maryland. Third was entry number 1056, WFSYC Phyllis 205, exhibited by Victoria Meyer of WF Angus in Center Hall, Pennsylvania. Fourth was entry 1059, Washington Lass 382, exhibited by Benjamin Wayne Harrison, Brenton Wayne Harrison, and Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland. In the ring now,
Tell you what, folks, showing these baby calves this time of year can be a struggle. Again, they're still learning out here. They're still trying and learning and trying to be a show heifer out here. And so many times they get to show halter on them out here. And these first few times they're out away from the farm there, it can be difficult, especially, evaluating structure and that kind of thing. I mentioned earlier, one of the earlier classes, you take the halters off these things and let them go walk through a small pasture pen. They move so much better and so much natural. Out here, they're fighting the halters so bad at this stage, and that makes it tough, too. But heifer we're going to start the class out with, she's fighting that show halter, and we want to bulk off that front end. When she does get set, get that head up and alert. She gives you an acceptable look from the side. From there back, I love her. I love that body and expression that she has. She's one of the stouter featured heifers that we have out here. She's correct in terms of her hock, flexibility in her hock. When you study her angles there, she's good in her pasture, and love that body shape there and there. Heifer out coming out next in second, I felt pushes that one and challenged that one more than any of the other contemporaries that we got out here. I think when you compare them, in particular from that three-quarter view, I think that heifer that we started class with has so much more genuine shape to her and dimension. This is probably the profile heifer. She sets up, and when she gets ready and cocked just like she is there, that neck set is extremely good looking, guys. I love a neck set in that one. That's where the advantage is over that heifer that we started a class with, is that front 1/3. But from there back, I just thought she just gave up a little bit too much in terms of power, in particular when you study her out through her hip and foot size and shape there as well. But again, a nice heifer there. Heifer that we're going to start or go with in 30 here in the 3-hole here. Way attractive heifer, way good looking in her lines and stuff. We just like to make her a little deeper bodied in terms of balance and symmetry to make her compete with those top 2 females there. But that's one, guys. You let that one mature and get some belly shape in that one. Come next summer, I think she's going to be really, really competitive. Young lady's got a nice hair coat on that one there as well. Nicely presented female there as well. Heifer we're going to conclude with, again, we're still talking about good cattle here, guys. There's a lot of practical utility in that one when we talk about cow power and forecasting that one on down the road in terms of brood cow ability and potential there. High-quality class Angus females. My sincere compliments to the exhibitors out there in that class.
Angus exhibitors, we need your first and second place junior heifer calves to select champion and reserve junior heifer.
Kyle Lemon, your class is in the ring for AOB. Kyle Lemon with Dunk Jolene. Kyle Lemon, your class is in the ring. If you're coming, you're getting ready to start judging. Class 18, Chase Harwood. We're waiting for you, Chase Harwood. Attention, all you truck drivers. We have a white GMC Denali, tag number A364884. You are blocking trailers in the trailer lot. Please go move your truck. Again, it's GMC white Denali A364884. Please kindly move your vehicle. It's blocking trailers.
Those of you around the ringside marking your Angus programs, result of Class 5 junior heifer calves are as follows. First was entry 1064, Sleepy Meadow Farm Lady Express 2272, exhibited by Dr. Kay Wagner and Crystal Stowers of Sleepy Meadow Farm in Westminster, Maryland. Second was entry 1067, Windsor Manor Sin Else 6, exhibited by Bryce Zepp and Jason Myers of Country Acres Farm in New Windsor, Maryland. Third to entry number 1065, Terra Rubra 2207, exhibited by William McGrew of Terraruba Farm LLC in Kemar, Maryland. Fourth of entry 1070, HFA Dakota's Chip, exhibited by Francesca Bologna of Harmony Farm in Mechanicsville, Maryland. In the ring now, our judge will select our junior heifer calf champion and reserves. And then we will begin with late senior heifer calves.
Over on the AOB side, I get really excited when I see cattle that really fit what we're trying to do in our program in South Central Texas. And these two females right here really hit the mark for me. I think, you know, in terms of frame size, you know, I try to stay away from talking about frame a whole lot because quality is quality. And I think you have a variation here in frame size with these two heifers, but two extremely high quality heifers when you really start studying them. Really loose and designed pretty much the way we like to design a beef cow female. Really feminine. You can certainly tell they're young ladies waiting to get into production. Really like the heifer we're leading the class off with. I think she excels the heifer just behind her a little bit, especially if you look at them in their heart and forward. I think the heifer's got a little more power right behind her shoulder. A heifer that's certainly, you know, performance-wise is excelling in this class today, but I'm not going to make a big deal about the frame size. It's just the quality, the length of side. I get behind this heifer. I certainly like her through the center of her lower quarter. A heifer that's certainly got a lot of shape and depth of her rib down to her flank and up to her forerib. Just a really complete heifer. I put her out on the move, really flexible in her spine and covers her track really nicely. The heifer, I could probably say pretty much ditto on the heifer that I have here in second. Just a little less of her maybe, but a heifer that's tremendously broody in terms of her depth of rib. Certainly a heifer, when you get behind her, you appreciate her for her width of base off of both ends. As I said, if I'm really nitpicking, right behind her shoulder, maybe not as bold when you compare to the heifer just ahead of her, but still a really feminine, broody, young brood cow prospect. I really, really like this top pair of heifers in this class. The next heifer that comes in line, again, a big, powerful heifer that's got a lot of rib shape to her. Maybe not quite as bold sprung when you get right behind her, but still a female that's certainly going to go out and make a brood cow. In terms of her overall makeup, maybe not quite as attractive through that front 1/3. Maybe doesn't lay back quite as nice in that shoulder as the two heifers ahead of her, but certainly adequate in that regard. I just like to clean her up maybe in the lower part of her chest there, but still a really powerful female that definitely would make my replacement lot. The next heifer in line, I think the next three heifers are fairly similar. I mean, not as attractive maybe in their overall design, but still have pieces. This heifer here certainly has some width of muscle. Maybe when you see her out on the move, she tends not to set that hind leg down with the same authority as the two heifers above her, but still a really complete heifer, I think, that'll go ahead and make a nice cow. The heifer here coming next, I think, as compared to the heifer just below her, just a little more to her. Again, she gets a little plainer off her hind leg, maybe doesn't flex quite as nicely as the heifers ahead of her. Maybe it ticks straighter up through that front shoulder than some of the heifers, and you see it particularly when you get her out on the move. She tends to tighten up in her spine, not quite as loose in her movement, and therefore can't cover her track maybe quite as well. The next heifer that we're in the class with, again, a very useful kind of a female that has some parts that certainly would fit a breeding program, just maybe not as much power and performance in her today in terms of her center mass, in terms of her width of base, as compared to the heifers above her.
Over on the AOB side, results from Class 17. First went to John Crawford with JCRW Justice Classy. Second to John Crawford with JCRW Journey. Third to Taylorview Farms with Griffith Hill Bliss. Fourth went to Ellie Baker, Mount View Cattle Company with Jasmine Wish. 5th went to Cameron Towers, Griffith Hill, Vegas. And 6th went to Kylie Shoebrooks with WBR Miss Mary. Now in the ring over on the AOB side, we should have Class 18 in the ring. Once again, Shorthorn exhibitors, we will not start before 2:30. 2:30 Shorthorn exhibitors.
Exceptional trio here, guys, on your Angus side of things. In particular, the one we're going to start out with, that's the lead-off heifer of the class, and she was the second she hit the ring, in my mind. Such a good heifer in terms of balance and symmetry, and I love that one. The young lady does an awesome job there. So smooth in her lines and so neat up to her shoulder, head, and front end. Maybe not as actually extended up through her neck, but certainly adequate in terms of length. She handles that neck set very well, and really love this heifer when you set her in motion, in particular, and how she handles her top. She's adequate when you get behind her. She's got some pin width to her there as well. You love the body depth, and I think relative now to her growth pattern, I think she's where she needs to be. High-performing heifer here that we're going to land on in second. Just not quite the eccentric pieces and parts that we saw in that heifer we're going to lead with. Certainly, Grant, if you want the power female of the group, that's the heifer in 2. Compared to the female there in first, we just like to neaten that one up, maybe clean her up there through her navel. Not as tidy, not as in concert, if you will, in terms of her top line and in terms of her hip there. But again, we got 2 good heifers there leading off in the class. Young man brought us another nice Angus female here that we conclude the class with in 3rd. She's moderately sized, and I certainly don't mind that at all. I don't mind them a little bigger. I don't mind them a little smaller as long as they're made right. And for me, I think she is. She's got some body and shape and balance. Again, we just like to neaten that one up. I give her a little more of those extra pieces, if you will, to make her more competitive with those top-end heifers in that class. Thanks.
Angus exhibitors are ready for your early senior heifer calves. The junior heifer calf champion was entry number 1055, she being Full Day Enterprises Georgina 2208, sired by Coleman Primo out of the Cal Buchanan's Georgiana, exhibited by Dustin Douglas of Full Day Enterprises in Westminster, Maryland. And the reserve, that was the reserve. The junior champion heifer was entry number 1058. Full Day Enterprises Sandy 201. She's sired by Clausen out of Connolly Sandy, exhibited by Full Day Enterprises. Entry 1058 is junior heifer calf champion, and entry 1055 is reserve. Result of the late senior heifer calves, class number 8 in your program. We just left the arena. Entry 1074, Heath Wendy 843, exhibited by Blair Heath of Heath Cattle Company, Cooksville, Maryland, was first. Second was entry 1072, Full Day Enterprises Nellie 129, exhibited by Grant Anthony of Woodbine, Maryland. Third was entry 1073, Windy Ridge Blackbird 21, exhibited by Hayden Hawn of Windy Ridge Acres in Rocky Ridge, Maryland. In the ring now, in the Angus ring, are early senior heifer calves.
On the Angus side, if we could get Class 13 to be making their way to ringside, Class 13 make their way to ringside. Over on our AOB side, first went to John Crawford, Shepherd's View Farm, with JCRW Justice Classy. Second went to John Crawford, Shepherd's View Farm, JRC Journey. Third went to Taylor View Farms with Griffith Hill Bliss. And fourth went to Ellie Baker, Mount View Cattle with Jasmine Wish.
Angus.
whole lot of difference between her and the cow that leads the class off. I think the advantage the cow that we're leading the class off with, though, would be in the design of the teats, a little more refined, and the cow that leads the class a little more refined in her teat structure. I think her udder will probably hold up a few more years than the cow here that we're coming in second with. In that right, the bull calf that she's raising this go around certainly has some muscle shape. Looks like he'll go ahead and grow and develop into a prospect down the road. Cow that we're in the class with, maybe a little less durability to this cow, not in quite as good a condition here today as far as showing what she's got. Maybe her udder development, not quite what we have in the two ahead of her, and then the calf is at a disadvantage because it's much younger.
Rolling into your senior yearlings here, folks, in this division here. Here's one again, a lot of practical utility in this particular female, and I mean that, with all sincerity. I think there's a lot of good. Is she the prettiest, wildest looking one you've ever seen out here? No, but I think there's certainly a lot of good in that female in terms of body depth, in terms of shape and muscle. Compared to ideal, we might want a prettier up through that front 1/3 to clean her up through her navel, but I think there's a lot of high quality pieces and parts in that female. Congratulations, young lady.
Entry number 11-12, CP Scarlet, exhibited by Taylor Hobbs of Parkton, Maryland, was first late Angus senior yearling heifer.
Angus side again here, folks, senior yearlings, and we have one out here, guys, if you want to take a look at one. And really, if you want to study and see what a senior yearling should look like in terms of body condition, I think we've got a really good candidate here. Just so good. And this one, I tell you what, folks, good seeing a ton more competition. It's going to be interesting and fun to see her later on when she gets out here amongst the rest of them here. But I think there's a lot of quality in that female, really beautifully headed type female too. You study the head structure on that one, and I know people don't talk about heads a lot, but I look at heads on cattle a good deal. Really a lot of quality there in the flow, and so sound and good looking on the move there as well. I like that female a great deal.
Please bring your senior yearling heifers in the ring for division champion and reserve, please. Taylor Hobbs and Hayden Hong. And division champions and reserve, Angus to the ringside. All Angus division champions and reserve to the ringside.
I think in this heifer baby class here, two heifers are very similar. I think when you really start breaking them down, the heifer that I think has the advantage is the heifer we're leading off here with. Up through that front shoulder area, at the point of her shoulder in particular, lays in just a bit smoother. In terms of her joints, the hocks, and I like the flatness in the joints on this heifer a little better than the heifer just behind her. Really long-sided, really clean line kind of a female. that I appreciate in terms of her attractiveness and femininity up through that front 1/3. Again, the heifer right behind her, similar, not a lot of difference in the two. I think this heifer, though, maybe just right at the point of the shoulder, a little bolder in that shoulder design. Heifer maybe a little coarser in her overall makeup in terms of her joints and the way she goes off when she gets out on the move.
Angus breeders and exhibitors, we're about to select a grand and reserve grand champion female as soon as we get them lined up. All division winners and reserves, please come to the ringside. You should already be there waiting.
Over on the Shorthorn side, we have our champion cow-calf was exhibited by Ryan Leister, Cornerstone Cattle Farm, with GLF Linda Miracle. Our reserve champion cow-calf pair was exhibited by Nicole Green, Bill Mars, Lassie Rosie. Third place went to Lucas Barnett. In our breaks for our senior heifer calves, we're looking at break 2. Ryan Leister got first with CF Farm Lindy, and Turner Shorthorn got second with TRNR Penny. Now in the ring, we have our Class 1 break for Class 4. And this
folks around ringside, if you would, give all these Angus exhibitors here, Angus female exhibitors, a nice round of applause. You know, if you're one that likes looking at good Angus cattle as I do, or as much as I do, you should have enjoyed the show today. I enjoy going through and maybe even talking pedigrees with some of the folks out in the ring. It's always interesting to see and find out what you like afterward and see if there's a trend on some of these sires or some of these bulls. But, you know, so extremely impressed with the quality that we've had out here in each division. I talked the depth of quality that we've had out there in those classes. And, again, my sincere compliments goes out there to all the breeders, exhibitors here. The fun thing about cattle shows, and maybe this particular show, I don't know if there's one out here that you can say has to win. I don't know if there's that one out here. I think we can go back with all these females and kind of pick them apart and add some quality to them. You know, and they're all rock stars, but it's always interesting to get your division champions out here and kind of sort them together and see how they compare to the rest of your champions in those divisions. I hope you can kind of see the cattle that I like. The kind of cattle that I gravitate toward. And again, I think I mentioned this earlier, I don't care what kind of cattle you like, these are all good ones here. And I hope you can recognize that. These are all good ones. So with that said, I'm going to go out here and find you a couple I like. Congratulations, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, our grand champion Angus heifer is entry number 1106. Stursback Cattle Company SLL Phyllis 124. She's sired by Stursback Cattle Company SCH 24 Carat. Out of the cow, Stursback Cattle Company SCH Phyllis 754. Exhibited by Hayden Hawn of Windy Ridge Acres in Rocky Ridge, Maryland. Our grand champion Angus heifer 1106, exhibited by Hayden Hawn. Our reserve grand champ heifer is entry 1074, Heath's Wendy 843. She's sired by Silviero Style out of Full Day Enterprises Wendy.
I think this is
exhibited
probably
by Blair Heath.
probably one of the most challenging classes I've had all day, I think. The heifer we're going to go ahead and lead off with, I think, for me, in my mind, puts together as many good things in the class in terms of depth of rib up through her front 1/3, carries that back into her flank, maybe especially when you compare to the heifer next in line. Still pretty feminine, fairly well ties in that front 1/3 in terms of her shoulder. Just when you study her, just not a whole lot you want to pick apart. She gets out and moves, not cooperating real well for the young lady today, but I think when we walked them the second time, they're certainly adequate in terms of her movement and her looseness of spine. I think not the most highly fitted heifer in the class, but certainly a heifer that's got a lot of quality in terms of muscle and structure and depth of rib and all the things that we're looking for. The next heifer in line, really flashy, really pretty heifer up through that front 1/3, a real nice fitted heifer. That maybe on the, when I get in front of her foot size, I might like to see her a little bigger on that foot, but still when she gets out on the move, certainly covers her track. Heifer that I think when you compare to the heifer just ahead of her maybe doesn't have the natural depth of rib, forerib and back to her flank as we have in the heifer that we're leading the class off with, but a heifer with a lot of future in terms of outcome. I think this heifer's got really straight lines, really feminine, and I think a bright future as she moves along. Next two heifers in line, you know, we could flip a coin and switch, I think, for his type. The next heifer, a little broodier kind, maybe a little more in terms of width of base, but a heifer that when we get her out moving, gets a little shorter, a little more under herself in terms of her movement, maybe tends to widen out through that front 1/3 a bit more, and you can see it when she gets off on the move, tends to restrict herself a little more in her movement. The next heifer in line probably fits the two heifers I led off with more closely in terms of her design, but a heifer, you know, in terms of her forerib back to her flank, maybe not quite as much in that lower 1/3 as we see, and particularly the heifer that led the class for sure. The heifer just ahead of her, I'd probably give her the advantage in terms of movement, but not a whole lot. Again, a heifer that just kind of fits in this hole in my mind today. Next heifer in line, certainly a heifer that has some useful parts. Gets a little bit choppier, a little rougher out over her tail head. Maybe when you see it when she moves, more so than when she's standing still. But still a heifer that's certainly clean and neat up through that front 1/3. Just maybe giving up a little in terms of power for sure. And the heifer's just ahead of her. And the heifer we're in the class with, certainly a heifer at this point in her life, certainly been easy doing, easy fleshing. But a heifer in terms of structure that gets a little plainer off her hind leg when she gets out on the move than some of them in front of her.
Over on the Shorthorn side, in our class break of Class 4 Break 1, we have first place Lee Holland with Perfect View Daisy. Second, Turner Shorthorns with TRNR Lovely Lady. Third, Keegan McGrew with GCR Binny. Fourth, Lee Holland with Perfect View Ova Calico. 5 is Lee Holland with Perfect View Rosie C11K. And 6th was Lainey Mae Burnett with HAA Georgia Rose. Now we have break 2. Break 2 results. First was Ryan Leister with CC Farm Lindy. Second was Turner Shorthorns. Now in the ring we should have Class 5.
Angus exhibitors, we're ready for your spring bull calves. Spring bull calves. Chester. Chester.
Attention in the barns. If we have anybody that wants to hand out ribbons, please come up to the announcer stand. We need them on both sides of the ring. Well, I thought you were... We only need it on the Angus side. If anyone, little one, wants to come up and hand out ribbons on the Angus side, we would appreciate it.
Blair Heath. Blair Heath, come to the announcer stand, please. Blair Heath. Angus exhibitors, we have our first class of junior bull calves in the ring now. There is only one class 29 February junior bull calf. So we will select our junior bull calf champion in reserve. Then we will move into our late senior bull calves, of which there are 3 entries in the class. Then we will select our senior bull calf champion in reserve. We only have 1 early yearling bull. Then we will select our grand and reserve grand champion Angus bull. Blair Heath.
quality of depth is one way to describe your bull show here, getting started here, guys. I think it's a two-pair class for me when we go and kind of sort these calves out in their respective groups here. I think we've got two up on this end, 1 and 2. It's got a little more look, a little more balance, a little more substance, if you will, a little more quality, if you will. And the one I'm going to lead off with, I think, does so for me. I think they're close, really, but I think the advantage is when you start to analyze these two right behind their shoulders. I think there's more power, more substance in the bull calf that we're going to start out with. They're right behind the shoulder. Both these two are really good looking. I mean, on the side profile, they both are good looking critters there. When you analyze them from the side, they both got, you know, some body depth and shape and some top shape to them, and again, a tremendous amount of future in these guys. They're both adequate in terms of substance and foot size, and in that regard, I just thought there's a little more quality in the bull that we're going to start out the class with right behind his shoulder and in that four-rib construction, if you will. We've got two on the other end here, too. We've got two on the other end here, guys, too. We're still talking about high-quality bull calves here. I'm going to go with the advantage, the bull calf here with the yellow tag that we're going to land on in third. You stand back and look at him. You analyze his rib shape and dimension and top shape. And these guys are still, again, they're calves and they're still fighting the halter a little bit. But I just thought he's a little smoother made. Certainly in terms of substance and power when you get right behind him. I think there's notch more dimension and shape in that one, in that bull that we're going to, over the bull that we're going to use there to conclude the class with. The bull that we're going to use there at the end there, not quite the pin width and shape and dimension when you get right behind him. He's got some good pieces and parts to him. We just got to pull him apart, make him a little stouter feature to make him more competitive in this class. Thanks.
Really competitive class of shorthorn heifer calves over here on this side. The heifer we're going to lead off with is, when we study her, I mean, she's just really attractive up through the front. 1/3, a heifer that's really longer in terms of overall length. If there's an advantage to her over the second heifer, I think she has a little more spring to her rib cage. Definitely a little longer side, a little deeper from forerib to flank. I think when you put her out and she gets in motion, certainly pulls herself together and really pleasing to look at when she's out on the move. I think it's a really close pair, though, that the heifer following her, maybe as I study the two heifers, particularly up through the point of the shoulder and through that front 1/3, this heifer, and again, I mean, it's an opinion. She tends to maybe get a little more at the point of her shoulder, maybe not quite as flat in her joints as the heifer we're leading the class with, but still a heifer that when you look at her from behind certainly has a lot of shape and muscle when you get behind her as compared to the heifer just ahead of her. Maybe just not quite as smooth a package as we have in the heifer that we're going to lead the class off. But I think, again, you know, if you disagree, you know, we can agree to disagree. Really close pair of heifers. The heifer then that we're leading next with, probably one of the more most pleasantly presented heifers in terms of her dark red, cherry red color. Really nicely fitted heifer. Probably where she loses me is when we get her out on the move. She tends to want to crawl up in that top, open up in that shoulder just a bit, maybe a little tighter right in that heart than the two heifers just ahead of her, but certainly a really attractive heifer when she's out on profile and the young man gets her set up and posed. Certainly a heifer that grabs your eye initially when she came in the class, but as I watch her in terms of her movement and in the looseness of spine when she gets on the move, tends to just get a little tighter, as I said, and maybe opens up a bit and turns that front end out more east to west than what I would consider ideal. But still a really nice, attractive, useful kind of a female. The next heifer in line is the performance heifer in terms of frame size. Certainly a big framed heifer that's grown quickly to this point in her life. Just would like to square her up out over that hip, particularly when we put her in motion. She wants to get under herself just a little more. Maybe not quite the natural depth of rib and forerib that we have in some of the heifers ahead of her, but still big, powerfully framed heifer in terms of this stage of her life. The heifer we're in the class with, again, maybe giving up overall to heifers ahead of her in terms of performance. Maybe like to change her just a bit in the way she comes off on that hind leg, but really competitive class of shorthorn heifer calves.
Over on the Angus side here, folks, I'd like to introduce you to Ashlyn. She has brought Bubba, but let me tell you, his real name is Sheldon, right? Shelton, but she calls him Bubba. And she's brought Bubba to the fair out here this week in this single entry division. And Bubba's got a lot of things going on for him. He's a stout featured one. You like that center body and shape that he's got. He's a belly dragger there. You like that about him. Compared to Ideal, with all that belly that he's got, we might want to give him just a notch more flank there. But from there forward, he's clean-chested. He's correcting the angle of the shoulder. He's attractive through his front 1/3, and I like that head shape on a young bull calf like that. Congratulations.
Angus exhibitors as around the ringside are results of the first spring bull class that just left the ring. Entry number 1124, Washington Parker 082, was first, exhibited by Allison Schultz and Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland. Second was brought up from another class, entry 1562, a March 22nd bull exhibited by Madison Oler. Third was entry 1123, Washington Diffie, 112, exhibited by Kyle Schultz, Brendan Wayne Harrison, and Washington Farm, Woodbine, Maryland. Fourth was entry 1122, SMF Drizzle 4062, exhibited by Crystal Stowers of Sleepy Meadow Farm in Westminster, Maryland. And the later junior bull calf, entry number 1125, Washington Shelton 162, exhibited by Washington Farm, was first. We're now selecting our junior bull calf champion. Please have your late senior bull calves to the ring. There should be 3. Our junior Angus bull calf champion is entry 1124, Washington Parker 082, sired by Gateway Follow Me out of Washington Pearl, exhibited by Allison Schultz and Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland. Entry 1562, exhibited by Madison Oler, was spring bull calf champion.
Over on our Shorthorn side, class 5 junior heifer calves. First went to Peyton Davis with HF Margie Orgby. Second went to Turner Shorthorns with TRNN Rose Glass. Third went to Peter Hoffenstein with HAA Lady Bell. Fourth went to Sejo Quinn Cattle Company with Tawana. Fifth went to Turner Shorthorns with TRN Rose Lassa. Our champion junior heifer calf was also exhibited by Peyton Davis with HF Margie. In the ring now is our reserve champion. Semitalls, I would like to apologize, but right now we're at 3:45 start time. Semitalls, 3:45 start time. Our reserve champion junior heifer calf was exhibited by Turner Shorthorns from Class 5. TRN rose last. Now in the ring, we have Class 9 early senior heifer calves.
Angus herdsmen in the barn. After we select our grand champion and reserve grand champion Angus bulls, the order of the group classes are as follows. Group of 2 bulls, pair of calves, junior get, produce of dam, and breeder's best 5 head. I repeat, after grand champion and reserve Angus bulls, the order of group classes to be shown are as follows. Group of 2 bulls, pair of calves, junior get of sire, produce of dam, and breeder's best 5 head.
All right, Angus side here, guys, in your bull division here. We got a trio of bulls out here, and I think we've got quality again in all 3. You can pick which ones you like. I'm going to sort the ones I like to the top here. Exhibitor here coming out first with this big stout bull calf. I think all these 3 are really rugged made bulls. They're all December bulls. I think he's got the most muscle and real product to offer. He combines that with some soundness and some structural integrity. He's big and bold in terms of his rib. You know, maybe you want to make him a little more smooth up through that front 1/3 in terms of his neck shoulder junction, but certainly a very athletic bull, very square built bull. Bull coming out in second, probably not the power and shape when you get right on top of that bull compared to the bull calf we're going to lead off with. He's a little flatter made in his muscle pattern compared to that top bull, but still a bull that gives you a good look. Again, you like that softness and practical utility that he shows you through that center portion of his body. I think a good prospect there as well. Bull that we're going to conclude the class with, again, another herd prospect that you look forward and like to project him to go forward there. I think there's, again, a lot of quality in that bull there as well. Maybe not quite the power that we saw in those other 2 bulls, and again, he's wanting to fight that halter and maybe not giving me the best look here when you set that one into motion. But again, a trio of high-quality Angus bulls in that class.
The late senior bull calf winner and automatic division champion is entry number 1128, Rosada Deadwood J851, exhibited by Rosada Farm of Moncton, Maryland. Second is a full sib, entry 1130, Rosada Deadwood J848, also exhibited by Rosada Farm, and is reserve champion senior bull calf. Third, entry number 1129, another full sib, Rosada Deadwood J850, also exhibited by Rosada Farm.
So on the Shorthorn side here, have a really complete heifer to start this class. Certainly not too hard to find her in this particular class, a heifer that you really appreciate her. In terms of her femininity, certainly lays in nicely in up to her shoulder. Certainly a heifer with a lot of forerib, a lot of flank. You get behind her, she doesn't disappoint you relative to the class in terms of her muscle mass. Really a wide top female that gets out, covers her track. Just a really sound, complete kind of heifer to lead this class off with. Next heifer, I think, in terms of muscle and rib shape, most closely follows a heifer that in her own right certainly has some shape to her rib when you get behind her. Certainly has some thickness right through the center of her down through her lower quarter. Heifer that maybe once she gets out on the move, I might change her just a little bit up in her front shoulder design. Maybe gets a little bolder out through that shoulder. And swings those legs a little wider maybe than I would consider ideal once she's when she's out on the move, but still a really nice, complete kind of female. That little heifer that we're going to end the class with, I think the heifer certainly has some frame size relative to the class. Maybe just giving up a little in terms of bone structure, maybe in terms of the way she pushes off structurally off that hind leg. Maybe not quite as thick when you get right behind her compared to the two heifers just above her, but still a nice, useful kind of heifer. The young lady does a good job showing her.
Angus Bull side of things here, folks. What an individual here, and one that certainly could stand a tremendous amount more competition. You know, one thing that I always look at, in particular on bulls, when they get to this size and stage of the game, is their feet. And if you want to study a good-footed Angus Bull, come look at this guy. Maybe back install or after the show, but he's got tremendous feet on him, and a well-balanced package and a moderate frame score. You get behind him, he's got some real punch and power that I think our breed could really use a good shot of. He's moderate in his size, but he's so well balanced. He's square built and really good footed bull. Sound moving, sound structured like that one, a great deal.
The first place early yearling bull, entry number 1132, is also junior champion, he being Mitch Wheatland Commander 172J, exhibited by Matt Bauerlein of SAC Show Cattle in Manchester, Maryland. We'll now select our grand and reserve grand champion bulls respectively.
Over on our shorthorn side, class 9, first went to Francesca Beloga with Harmony Riley. Second went to Inner's Family with Woodcamp Rosie. And third went to Inner's Family with Woodcamp Laney. Now in the ring, we have our champion senior calf. Over on our Angus side, we would like to take a moment to congratulate our premier exhibitor, Washington Family Farms, and our premier breeder is Full Day Enterprises. You will get a banner in the mail. Congratulations to both.
Angus Bull side here, folks. We're going to keep moving along here. Tremendous representative individuals that we have out here on the Angus Bull side. I guess I showed my cards a bit earlier there, talked that last bull up so well. But again, you start to study his feet and body shape and true shape when you get on top of that one. He's an awesome individual. We're going to go ahead and use him. He's going to be your champion. There for me it gets a little more competitive when we start selecting for reserve, and it's always interesting and challenging when you go on these younger bull calves and kind of project them forward and see what you want and what you're going to do. And again, we talk back on the Charolais bull division. You know, it's all about your respective needs at home and what you want to do with your herd. Whether you're raising performance cattle, whether you're a commercial guy raising feeder calves, or what you want to do there. But I'll go out and show you the one that suits me the best. Thank you for reserve.
Our grand champion Angus Bull is entry 1132, Mitch Wheatland Commander 172J. He's sired by Schaff's Angus Valley President 6847, out of the cow Bar EL Marge 13E, exhibited by Wheatland Cattle Company and Abby Peck of Bauerlein Show Cattle in Manchester, Maryland. Entry 1124 is reserve grand champion Washington Parker 082. He's sired by Gateway Follow Me F163, out of the cow Washington Pearl 186, exhibited by Allison Schultz and Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland.
I think in this class of short-horn females, two heifers we're going to lead the class off with, a little similar in their kind. The heifer, I think, has an advantage here that we're going to lead off with. Just a little stouter made overall. When you get behind her, a little thicker, a little wider base than the heifer just below her. Not perfect in her structure, but I think adequate relative to the class to win this class. The next heifer in line, very similar to her in kind. A little harder to get a look at this heifer. She was not down for the show ring today, I don't think, but again, a heifer in terms of her rib shape and muscle certainly fits in the second hole as compared to the heifer here just below her. But a heifer that maybe not quite as big hipped as the heifer we led the class off with. The heifer we're going to end the class with in terms of depth of rib, both up through her fore rib and back through her flank, maybe not as powerful in that regard, maybe not as wide when you get right behind her as the two heifers just ahead of her.
Simmental's exhibitors, we're pushing you to 4 o'clock. I apologize. Simmental exhibitors, 4 o'clock. Simmental exhibitors, 4 p.m.
First place, Angus group of 2 bulls. First is Washington Farm, second to Rosetta Farm. Pair of calves come in the ring, followed by Junior Get of Sire. Produce of Dam and Breeder's Best 5 head.
Aubrey Short, you are needed in your class 13. Aubrey Short, class 13.
Angus Junior Get a sire entries. Junior Get. Angus Junior Get. Bring them in the ring. Results of the pair of calves are as follows. Group exhibited by Washington Farm pair of calves is first. Second is Crystal Stowers. Third and fourth pair of calves exhibited by Washington Farm. Angus Jr. Get a sire in the ring.
Over on our Shorthorn side, Class 12. First went to Addie Wagner with AMW Lady Liberty. Second went to Lee Holland with GCC Margie. And third went to Ryan Leister, Cornerstone Cattle Farm with CC Farm Mighty Vision. Now on the ring on the Shorthorn side, we have Class 13. Shorthorn Plus exhibitors, you will follow the Shorthorn show as soon as it's done. I will keep you posted on that time. Angus exhibitors, Produce of Dam. Angus Produce of Dam. The first place Junior Get of Sire was exhibited by Washington Farm, and second to Rosita. Be getting your Angus breeders' best 5 head to the ringside. Blair Heath and Hayden Hawn, 5 minutes. Blair Heath and Hayden Hawn, 5 minutes to the picture area. Last call for Produce. Angus Produce, last call.
Again, a really challenging class, I think, to sort through here. Just, again, gets into a lot to do with preference. I think we're going to lead the class off with the heifer. I think in terms of balance, in terms of she's not the thickest heifer in there, but I think adequate in that regard. One of the sounder heifers in the class in terms of her movement, not perfect in that regard, but relative to the class, I think she's probably good enough to get her to the front. The next heifer in line, I think, probably more closely follows her in type and kind. Maybe a heifer with a little heavier bone than the heifer we're leading off with. But when we put this heifer out on the move, maybe just seems a tick straight out of her front. Maybe not quite the flank and forerib as we have in the heifer that just leads off in front of her. Really attractive heifer in her presentation, really nicely fitted. I just don't think she has the rib shape and rib depth as compared to the heifer just ahead of her to win the class. Then we get to the heifer that's kind of the different type heifer in the class, maybe a little smaller frame kind of a heifer. Probably one of the thicker heifers in the class, but when I study her up to her front 1/3, probably like to change her right down to the point of her shoulder. Heifer maybe just not quite as smooth in her overall makeup, in my mind, as the two heifers ahead of her. But certainly probably a matter of opinion whether you put her first or whether you put her third in this particular class. The heifer we're going to end the class with, I think a heifer just gets a bit coarser and tighter, more restricted in her movement up through that front end, gets under herself a little more and gets a little tighter in terms of when she gets out trying to travel.
All you Harrisons got a best 5 head, bring them in here. Dr. John, thank you very much for all your help and assistance here today, and on behalf of the Maryland State Fair and Agriculture Society, express our appreciation to all the breeders and those sponsors of various awards and so forth. Before I go any further, I need to see a Schultz over here or a Harrison, one of the two. Melissa. Hey, Harrison crew, hold up in the barn. Angus breeders, let's give Mr. Adam Hayes a nice round of applause on placing here 57 head of Angus here today. For those of you who may not know, we really appreciate Adam taking time out to come up here today on a very, very short notice. Calvin, if you want to go get dinner, you can still go get dinner and come back in time for the Supreme, because it's going to be a while. Simmental, we're ready to start your show. Cow calves if we got any.